Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
All you people are so scared of me.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Man, that's just me.
I'm Batman.
This is Sparta!
There is a tiger in the bathroom!
I'm an excellent driver.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Pop quiz, hotshot.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
I feel pretty and witty and gay, and I pity any girl who isn't me today.
La 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 la.
Hello and welcome back to this week's Monday Movie Show. Or if you listen to it in podcast land, welcome to the show. This is the Blu-ray and DVD section of the Monday Movie Show. Coming up, we have reviews of these lovely little films.
Daniel Day-Lewis in Steven Spielberg's Lincoln. Bruce Willis is back as John McClane in A Good Day to Something. I don't want to... Should I say it? No. No. We have a small British film starring Paul Bettany, Blood. A kind of a big film about Osama bin Laden called 0:30, you may have heard of. A German film called Beyond the Hills, and a horror film called The Wicked.
Yep, and as usual, we'll start off with the Blu-ray and DVD top 10. Number 10 is The Last Stand.
Shouldn't that be my line?
It should be. I was doing really well at the start as well, and I ended up going screwing things up.
So number 10, The Last Stand.
Can I just not read them out now? The Last Stand is just... I know. The Last Stand is a bit of a, in my opinion anyway, a bit of a bog standard action film. Out of the three that was released, that included Sylvester Stallone and Bullet to the Head, which we'll get to a little bit later on, and A Good Day to Die Hard, which we'll get to a little bit later on. This one was the best one out of the three, in my opinion, but that still wasn't very good considering that the standards weren't very high. This one was Schwarzenegger. He's too old to do the exuberant action films that he used to do, but it's a bit of a bog standard action film.
At number 9 is The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey.
Yeah, because I would have just read it out as The Hobbit.
I know.
I've said all I've said about The Hobbit. The Desolation of Smaug, I think the first couple of images were posted up online today, and a couple of days ago, one showing Evangeline Lilly, who's playing an elf in The Desolation of Smaug. So hoping for that one to be much better than this one.
At number 8 is Gangster Squad.
Yeah, it's that typical thing where a director makes his first film brilliantly, in this case Ruben Fleischer with Zombieland, and then he ends up going to make his second film not as good, which is 30 minutes or less, and then he follows suit with something like Gangster Squad. It's a bit of a bog standard film considering the acting talent on board. It's visually nice to look at. It has a very Alien Noir, the video game Alien Noir kind of look to it. It's just there's nothing very much embodied in the movie itself. It's a bit violent, but that's all that can be said about it.
Number 7, new entry for Breaking Bad, the complete fifth, yeah? Yeah, it's not just you. 5th season.
Yeah, we don't do TV, and I've not seen a single episode of Breaking Bad.
I have, though. I'm saying it's a really good show. Number 6 is I'd Give It a Year.
I'd Give It to You.
That was very nicely done. It's a British film, but it's just not really in the league of any of the other British comedies. It doesn't fall as funny as you would hope. Stephen Merchant is in it. If you like Stephen Merchant's comedy, then you can see this, but you'll probably find you get bored with it because he's given too much free rein. So take that as you will. At number 5, Les Miserables.
Yeah, Booger in the live chat says he loves Breaking Bad. I wonder if it's on Love Film Instant. If it is, I might give it a watch, because there's not very much on TV now, and so I want a few new programs to watch. So I might give a few that I missed a watch.
You should, it's really good. But Les Miserables at number 5.
Yeah, Les Miserables. Again, it's another one of those films where we've said as much as we can possibly say about the film. It's a fantastic musical. It's really well acted and really well directed.
Another new entry at number 4, Bullet to the Head.
Rubbish action film. Sly Stallone just meandering his way through the movie. The trailer makes this movie look like an absolute 100-mile-an-hour action movie. I was going to say something bad there, but yeah, it makes it look like a misleading film. It's not. There is a couple of action set pieces in it. Jason Momoa can't act. He's like a plank of wood. I think he'll just be thrown into these stupid, boring, stereotypical action roles, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets announced to be in Expendables 3. He's the new Jason Statham.
No.
In his early days, I think.
No.
Well, he's trying to be the new Jason Statham anyway.
Number 3, dropping down from the top spot, is Django Unchained.
Which I really liked it. Slightly too long. Brilliant performances. It's Leonardo DiCaprio getting away from his boyish looks and doing something a bit more nasty. Like his character changed a lot in The Great Gatsby, and so with this one, it's like his new evolution of it. He's a really good actor. He's really good in this. Jamie Foxx is brilliant in this. Samuel Jackson is nasty. He's really a nasty character in this, but he plays it brilliantly well. It's just like we've always said, Quentin Tarantino can't act for toffee, and he can't in this.
Number 2, new entry for Flight.
It's got a good premise in it, and watching a character kill himself like Denzel Washington does in this film is really well handled. But if you take his character out of the film, you realise the movie is weak around it. The plane crash sequence is not the film that it plays out to be. If you take that out, you've got a really good drama about a person who abuses himself with alcohol and drugs. It's just like I said, it's all hanging in Denzel Washington's hands, and thankfully he plays a really good role in it.
Which means that the number 1 movie, new entry, is Wreck-It Ralph.
It's just a brilliantly fun animated film for everybody, not just for kids, not just for adults. It is for everybody. It's that kind of movie where if you want to watch a film with your whole family, it'd be entertained throughout. Wreck-It Ralph is that. It's got some brilliant in-jokes for people who are video game nerds. You don't even actually need to be a video game nerd. There's a couple of characters in there that nerds would only get, but everybody else, they should really enjoy this movie, because I thoroughly did.
Yeah, I have to completely agree with that. I absolutely loved it, and it's Disney's best film by a mile in a long time.
Very long time. Yeah. Right, we've got an ad break coming up, and after that we have our first review of the night.
Right, advert. What do I need to say in an advert? Well, I need to say that we're the Gamescast. I need to say that we're on Twitter at the Gamescast. I need to say we're on Facebook. I need to say we've got a website, thegamescast.com, and I need to say we're on YouTube. Oh yeah, and we're on this thing called Spreaker.com. Don't know where that came from. What else? That's probably it. Right, better record it. Oh, crap. That was 30 seconds. The Gamescast. Grown-up gamers talking about games. Allegedly.
Seems to be a tiny bit of love in the live chat here with for Breaking Bad, because Dalek Sexy's just joined the show. He seems to like the series as well, so I might have to give it a look if it is on Love Film. I think it's on Netflix if it is.
I think it is, yeah, on Netflix. I'm not sure about Love Film though.
Right, first review of the night goes over to you, Andy.
Lincoln, which is Steven Spielberg's. I don't want to say biopic, but the story of Abraham Lincoln as he struggles to try and put through the 13th Amendment to abolish slavery and amend the Constitution during the time of war. You've got Daniel Day-Lewis in the film who plays Abraham Lincoln, and he is sort of forced with the situation where he has been... you see him during different periods of his life, but more towards the end of his life as he is then becomes president and then is re-elected for a second term, and then pushes through this amendment to try and get pushed ahead this act to abolish slavery and release all black men and women, so that it can then help and lead towards the end of the war. Here's a clip.
Abolishing slavery by constitutional provision settles the fate for all coming time, not only of the millions now in bondage, but of unborn millions to come. 2 votes stand in its way. These votes must be procured.
We need 2 yeses, 3 abstentions, or 4 yeses and one more abstention, and the amendment will pass.
You got a night and a day and a night, several perfectly good hours. Now get the hell out of here and get him.
Yes. But how?
Buzzard's guts, man. I am the President of the United States of America, clothed in immense power. You will procure me these votes.
So you have in the cast, as well as Daniel Day-Lewis, you have in that clip, you heard David Strathairn as well, who turns up as one of the, as his, sort of, I think it's his chief of staff. You've also got in there Tommy Lee Jones, who is one of the men who is sort of secretly supporting this act in Congress. You've also got in there Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who plays the president's son, and Sally Fields, who plays his wife. I can't think of her name now. It's just gone from me now. But the thing about this, it's not an action film.
Mrs.
It's
Lincoln.
Not, yeah, Mrs. Lincoln. Is it? I was going to say Mary something. Is it not? It's gonna. Anyone who knows American history is gonna absolutely slap me now. It's just completely gone. But they're all absolutely brilliant performances. That is what this film was about. This film is about performance and drama. There are scenes which it cuts away, which you see very briefly. I mean, in a film that is 2 hours and 40 minutes in length, there is maybe in total, and I don't think it's even this much, 5 minutes of battle scenes. It starts off seeing one of these battle scenes where it's just people are in the mud fighting, and it kind of shows off this thing of this whole thing of all men equal, because white men and black men are fighting in the mud and everyone's just covered in mud, and it kind of has this really great analogy at the start of it because of that. And then as it forwards on through time to the actual vote that happened of the 13th Amendment. But it's more of a focus on the drama, on the performances, on these people. You've also got added in there one of my actors who I really like, James Spader, who plays a guy who's hired to basically go around and sort of surreptitiously prey on these people on what they want, what they need to try and win over them to give them the votes that the president wants. And he has this joy that he plays with this as well, where he's basically a sort of a drunkard, lazy man. He's got a gut. He loves to eat when he's out and stuff like that. And he's one of these actors who just really embellishes his role. And that's what all this cast do. So it is a roundhouse of acting. Do not expect it to be any action film or any war film. It's not. It's all about the politics and the acting, but don't let that put you off, because it is a fantastic piece, and Daniel Day-Lewis deserved to win an Oscar.
Yeah, there are a couple of scenes near to the start of the film where you do see the turmoils of the fighting happen, and a couple of extreme scenes with a few of the soldiers, etc. But that's the only time when you do get to see that. Like you said,
yeah.
It's more about the political side of it and trying to pass this amendment so this law can be passed to abolish slavery.
It's not only that as well. Steven Spielberg has this eye for detail. And he has done this thing. I was actually tweeting. I don't know if you saw. I was tweeting with Bouncy Ball on Twitter yesterday about it, because he was talking about he was watching it and he's saying that the Blu-ray image is quite grainy, but it's actually
I was
all
involved
down
in
to,
that tweet.
Yeah, I can remember. But it's all down to Spielberg's design, that he wanted to make it like that. And there's shots that are shot in a certain way and they're lit in a particularly not dull way, but they're lit very focused light and very dull light on it, but in a way that just makes everything look kind of different and impressive. And that is another thing. It's got this visual style to it, which is just, it adds to it.
Yeah, it really does add to it. And not one single actor in the film puts a foot wrong.
No.
Right? It's really rare in a kind of film like that, because you might get one or two actors which might be lost in the background, considering that Daniel Day-Lewis puts in such a brilliant performance. And Sally Field as his wife, and you were right, it's Mary Todd Lincoln. She also puts in a brilliant performance as well, and so you expect maybe one or two of them just float away, but no, everybody's on point. Tommy Lee Jones is just really brilliant in it.
Al's just said that Daniel Day-Lewis scares him as Lincoln.
Scared me.
He does have that kind of that he's a very powerful presence, and that's, if you can imagine that on set, because he's one of these actors who, when he goes into character, he doesn't go out of character. So if you can imagine that on set where you're filming, it would have scared the crap out of you.
Yeah, and Booger, there is no zombies involved, considering that Abraham Lincoln has been in a film with vampires, but not zombies.
No, there was Abraham Lincoln versus zombies. There was one that was released straight to video about the same time as Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
We really need to wean you off saying straight to video and straight to DVD. Videos don't get released anymore.
No.
Apart from VHS, which was released last year on VHS.
It's STV, it's straight to video, it's a term. It's like film. There isn't film anymore because it's all digital. It's movies. You still call them film.
Yeah, screw it. Right, next movie up for review is A Good Day to Die. Oh, God. A Good Day to Die. I can't even get to the end of it now. A Good Day to Die Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Directed by John Moore, it stars Bruce Willis as John McClane selling his soul for a fifth outing. He finds out that his son Jack is who he hasn't actually spoken to in quite a few years, is in Russia. He's been arrested for killing somebody supposedly. When the Russian prosecutor talks to Jack, to claims that he might have information about somebody who has information about somebody in the government, and he is able to actually to bring this person down because nefarious deals are happening. John McClane then heads over to Russia to try and bail out his son. He gets to the courthouse. There's a big, massive explosion at the courthouse. Supposedly, somebody is trying to get into the courthouse to try and get one of the guys who Jack is trying to sort of like testify against. But then we learn out that Jack might have a different meaning of being there. Here's a clip.
Give me your weapons. Do you know what I hate about the Americans? Everything. Especially cowboys. What's funny there?
It's not you. I love these outfits.
Remember the last time we talked just before you went away?
Ah, no. No. You're not going to open up to me right before we die.
No, that's not your thing, John.
What's mine? Killing bad guys. That's your thing.
You're not going to die today.
So that clip there gives you a feel of what you're expecting A Good Day to Die of major boredom, because you expect the big massive action set pieces. John learns that his son Jack is actually in Russia for other reasons, learns a few secrets out there, which ultimately leads to a showdown in Chernobyl. It's rubbish, actually, to be honest. There was a joke there in the live chat from Al from Menage a Geek, but I couldn't see it because the live chat is going at 100 miles an hour at the moment. So I think he said something in the lines of the fact that it's terrible. It is. It's just terrible. You get the by the book action films, and this is one of them. This is like a checklist of things that have been seen and done a million times better in different films. They even copy each other. There is a scene which involves John chasing after people in this car, and it's sort of like a carbon copy a little bit from Die Hard 4.0 and from, like I said, other action films. The movie is showing its age. It was reduced down to a 12 years so it could get a lot of viewings. I didn't have enough time to see the re-release of it in 15, so I don't know what other added scenes have been put into it. Dalek, I am really not going to read that one out. I don't know what other scenes have actually been put into it for it to be boosted up to a 15 rated certificate. But it's just, it was like, yeah, we're going to release it at a 12 year in the cinema so we can get lots of kids going, yeah, it's a big action film. This is the best thing ever, because it's for that audience. It's for the dumb kid who loves to see big explosions on the screen and absolutely nothing else, who knows nothing else about film. It's rubbish. It's just avoidable. If you're a fan of the Die Hard series, you should have stopped after number 2.
No. There's a quality to the third one. The third one is brilliant. I remember seeing the third one at the cinema, laughing and enjoying it, and I still think it's funny. I think it's great.
I didn't much like Die Hard with a Vengeance. No, it just, the titles get stupider and stupider as well. Die Hard with a Vengeance, Die Hard 4.0 over here anyway.
Yeah, well, it was Live Free or Die Hard in America.
Yeah, and A Good Day to Die Hard. The next one should just be, why don't you die now, please? Just die. Die.
Next one should just not bother at all. Blood. Yes, I just said blood.
That's what was
next
nearly coming out of my eyes after I saw Die Hard. A Good Day to Die Hard.
A Good Day to Bleed from Your Eyes, yeah. Blood is the new film directed by Nick Murphy. It stars Paul Bettany, Mark Strong, and Stephen Graham as police officers in a sort of a small local, sort of small town, and it's all about the fact of the start of the film. There is a young girl who has been killed and her body left in a what is sort of the remains of a park that's now a skateboarding park. They start to investigate this murder, this sort of death that has drawn the entire attention of the local town and everyone, and they find sort of evidence and witnesses and sort of things that lead them to a potential suspect, a man who is a former paedophile and is actually working in a church now. When they actually raid his house, they find a bangle that belongs to the girl. Here's a clip.
I took it.
After you killed her?
No. 3 weeks ago.
You'll have to speak up, Jason.
3 weeks ago, she was playing with it in her hand. She put it down, so I took it.
Why? Why would you take a girl's bangle?
I wanted to help her. I wanted to pray with it. She wanted to talk to me.
Why would Angela need your prayers?
She kept talking about 2 boys. Guilty kind of talk.
Jason, we're not here to listen to your fantasies. Angela's mother told us she was wearing it the day she died. And now you have it.
So after they have this man who is the potential the suspect of the killer of this girl, there is an event that happens. I'm not going to say what it is, but something happens which then means that 2 of these characters, played by Paul Bettany and Stephen Graham, who are actually brothers, have this whole thing of that something comes between them, and this whole thing of what you will or won't do for your blood, basically. Mark Strong plays this other cop who works in the same department. He is kind of the outsider, and also and starts to become suspicious of something that's happened, and starts sort of looking into things and questioning what's going on. It's a surprisingly good small budget British film. It looks like something that's been shot for a big cinema film. It is very well visual styled. There's moments I'm sitting there watching it and I was like, you know what, this really looks like a big theatrical film. It's lovely shot, lovely framed, some great sort of the way that it's shot, some lovely tracking shots of it. There's some good performances in it, especially from Paul Bettany, who is just absolutely astonishing in some of his scenes where he's going through some real sort of turmoil a bit, and he's really good in it. The one thing I have is that it's a bit sort of lackluster in where it goes with the story as it builds towards the climax of the film, and it's a bit sort of, I mean, Mark Strong is in it, he's good performance in it, but he felt to me like he was a bit sort of wasted in it. It felt like there was need for more for him to do. Brian Cox is also in the film and plays the father of the 2 boys, of Paul Bettany and Stephen Graham's characters, and he's playing a man who is now suffering from sort of a form of Alzheimer's. So he's playing scenes where he's kind of babbling about things, or he's talking about something and stops and starts talking about other things. He's really good in that regard. But it just feels like there's kind of a missed opportunity with the story. Kind of doesn't do much and then plods along for a bit, then something happens, then it kind of plods along a bit more, then something else happens, and it's stretching out what it does. And it's not even like it's stretching out a lot, because the running time of the film is only an hour and a half. So it kind of feels like it's about an hour stretched to an hour and a half. But it's worth a rent if you like a good thriller and you like good performance of characters that are in anguish. Then check this out, because Paul Bettany is absolutely fantastic in it.
I completely agree with Paul Bettany being fantastic in it. It's one of his better roles. Stephen Graham's actually really good in it as well, and I agree with Mark Strong's character is very, very underused.
Yeah.
So it's a really good film, because I reviewed it last week. I quite enjoyed it, and I'm guessing it plays a lot better at home. It looks more like a home viewing film than a cinema.
It looks better directed than another small British film called All Things to All Men, which got a bigger cinema release than this did. I wish this had got the size of release that did.
Yeah, just a pity. Right, next up is Zero Dark 30. It's directed by Catherine Bigelow, who was horribly shunned from this year's Oscars. Don't know why, it's just badly shunned from it. And it stars Jessica Chastain, who plays a CIA operative in Maya. And her first experience, actually, in the whole film is interrogating a prisoner following the Al-Qaeda attacks against the US on September 11th. And she's a character who during the film, she grows much more in confidence, because she doesn't like what's happening during the interrogation. She thinks that the interrogation is really too harsh. And the more and more the film plays out, the more her character starts to grow in strength, the more she starts to learn about what's actually gone on, and the fact that she really wants to hunt down why everything happened with the Al-Qaeda attacks on September 11th, who was actually involved. It ultimately boils down, it involves Osama bin Laden, and the film is about her trying to get together a team of people to try and hunt down Osama bin Laden, capture him or kill him, or stop exactly what he's doing. Here's a clip.
You'll notice the stealth panels, similar to what we use on the B-2. The rotors have been muffled with decibel killers. It's slower than the Black Hawk, lacks the offense and the stability, but it can hide.
So, excuse me, but what do we need this for in Libya? I mean, Gaddafi's anti-air is virtually non-existent.
Maya, you want to brief him?
There are two narratives about the location of Osama bin Laden. The one that you're most familiar with is that UBL is hiding in a cave in the tribal areas, that he's surrounded by a large contingent of loyal fighters. But that narrative is pre-9/11 understanding of UBL. The second narrative is that he's living in a city. Living in a city with multiple points of egress and entry, access to communications, so that he can keep in touch with the organization. You can't run a global network of interconnected cells from a cave.
So ultimately, if Maya's intelligence isn't actually right, and if bin Laden is not in the place where she thinks he might be, then everything is just going to go to hell and bin Laden is going to escape. You know exactly how it plays out. The original intent for Zero Dark 30, the original script for it, was the non-capture of Osama bin Laden. And then everything changed when Osama bin Laden was ultimately captured and killed. And so what Catherine Bigelow had to do is, in the space of 6 months, completely turn her film around. She had to reshoot, because she shot practically all of the film. And then she had to reshoot the film practically from scratch. So what you have here is a movie that was shot in less than 6 months. And the quality of the film coming from the director of Catherine Bigelow, she's just a genius anyway. And so being able to do something like Zero Dark 30 in that period of time is unbelievable. I love Catherine Bigelow. Everything that she has done, I've really enjoyed. The Hurt Locker is fantastic. One of my favourite films. Near Dark is one of the best vampire films I've ever seen. And this is, again, it belongs in Catherine Bigelow's just brilliant canon. It all boils down to how Jessica Chastain can handle the character of Maya. And Jessica Chastain has proved that she is a brilliant actress, and she's just done the same in this. She's a chameleon when it comes to being an actress. She was in Mama, which we're reviewing next week, and she decided to take a horror role in that, and she's been in multiple films. She's one of those actresses who I don't think she can actually sit down for more than 5 minutes, because she's practically in everything, and everything that she's been in, she's took the character that she's given and give it as much as she possibly can, and she does the same with Maya in this. You've got a few supporting actors in the film, played by Joel Edgerton, who plays one of the Navy SEALs, and Chris Pratt and Mark Strong pops up in the film, but we've just been speaking about Mark Strong. There's also an appearance in the film from... He was in Torchwood. I can't remember his name. Jack Harkness in Torchwood.
Yeah.
A lot of people are probably going to scream the name at me now. But
John Barrowman.
Yeah, John Barrowman. He pops up in a scene in an elevator, which is a slight distraction.
It does make you do like a double take, doesn't it, when he pops up?
Yeah, it's the only distraction in a fantastic film.
I'm going to go on to my last one then, which is Beyond the Hills, or the original title, which is going to get butchered by me here. Dupa di Luri, I think is... I'm not going to try it again in case that's wrong. It's a drama about two women in Germany who are old friends from being in an orphanage some years previously. One of them then comes to find the other one, who is now living in it's a Romanian, basically a convent, a sort of a small church and convent where she is a nun amongst all these other nuns that are there. And the woman that comes to find her has come to basically find her to take her away and take her across to Germany, across the border. The two of them are very close friends because of the fact that they grew up in an orphanage. They both had sort of been, I don't want to say tortured, but sort of beaten by their families before they then ended up in the orphanage, where they then found each other and became really good friends. The thing that then happens is that after a while, the new girl's arrival, and I'm not sure about the name. I think her name is Elena. I'm not sure about pronouncing it, but she then turns up and ends up sort of helping out at this convent while she's waiting for her friend to then leave with her. And she starts helping out with things, but then eventually, after frustration and things happen, she ends up sort of attacking some of the other nuns, who then sort of hold her down and sort of take her to the local hospital against her will, because she seems to be acting strange and crazed and sort of deranged and attacking them, and not really knowing sort of who she is, what's going on. It then all becomes sort of a thing of as they then take her back to the convent and they're sort of helping her. It seems that she then is going to stay for a while, but then sort of goes back and forth between being okay and then sort of having this weird thing where she starts having these sort of manic episodes and acting out. It's a very weird film to try and explain it in that terms, because that doesn't really do it justice. It's a good drama. I seem to have this week where I've had lots of drama films, and it's very well acted by these two Romanian actresses, who are they're really good in the scenes. But it's just that the thing of that it's the main problem with the film is basically it's 2.5 hours long, and not a lot happens in it. It's just drama for 2.5 hours, and it really drags. It gets to certain points where there was big chunks of it, and I'm just like, why is this in here? Take it out. Move on. Get something else. Go to along to something else. And there was just whole segments of the film like that. It is really well acted. It's not brilliantly written, but it's supposedly based on true stories or short stories somewhere that are to do with the fact of these this sort of church that went through a sort of an exorcism with someone. But it's not a film about exorcism. It's about this relationship between these two friends and the closeness, and then this whole thing of the church getting in the way. And it's well acted, but it's a long sit through. It's not worth the 2.5 hours that it takes to watch it.
Okay, and final film for review of the night. Oh God! Each week I get the stinker. I get the unbelievable stinker. Wait until movie 43 comes out.
How long was your stinker this week?
That sounds really bad and personal.
What was the running time of your? No, that doesn't work either.
About 90 minutes.
Okay, yeah, you didn't have to sit through another hour then.
Yeah, but I get stinkers every single week though, and when movie 43 comes out, when I have to review that many bits, I'll have more than one. Okay. So we'll say this is Wicked. Well, the film is actually called Wicked.
That sounds like you're giving it a lot more a lot more praise.
I haven't turned into a typical London kid. This is Wicked. In it, blood. This is the film is Wicked. It's directed by Peter Winther, and it centres around a couple of school kids or teenagers who there's a myth going around in their town where if you throw stones at this abandoned house and you manage to hit the house with one stone without breaking a window, then you'll be safe from this evil wicked witch. If you end up breaking a single window in the house, then this witch will come and get you. Evidently, one of them breaks the window, and the witch comes and gets them, and they have to try and survive them. Honestly, I kid you not, that is the premise of the film. The start of the film sees a little girl in her bed saying to her mother, "I'm really scared somebody might come and get me." Evidently, she gets pulled from her bed and killed. Lots of kids end up getting killed in this town, and you just don't give a crap. You actually want the witch to pop up and rip people apart. All you get is a stupid CGI witch, which I'm guessing somebody ran around the forest with a tennis ball on the end of a bloody stick, and they've decided to just get a stupid crappy CGI package online and made this horrible, really bad witch. I remember watching a film called Darkness Falls, and I think the Tooth Fairy in that was designed much better than the one in Wicked. It's god-awful. Like I said, every single week I get the ultimate stinker when it comes to horrors, because I'm the only one who'll watch a horror film, and I'm the only one who's just sucker enough to watch these kind of films. And unfortunately, it might look like a decent enough film, but avoid it like the plague. It's beyond awful. I don't even think that the Horror Channel in this country would gladly take it as a premiere on their channel, and they show some really bad stuff, but this is beyond that. It's beyond, like, 1 pence kind of movies. Even if you saw somebody on the street giving you away for free, you would throw it back at them. It's terrible.
Okay, I'm kind of. That was a kind of a rant. Rant. Oh yeah. Okay.
I don't think it deserves any kind of. I think that's the noise that describes it. It's just a of a movie. It's nothing. Right.
You've got a couple of TV movies. Oh, I've got some as well. But you might as well start off with the TV movies of the week, can't you?
Yeah, I've got a couple of TV movies this week. First thing I want to point out, make sure you watch The Returned, which is on Channel 4 on a Sunday night at 9 o'clock. I highly recommend you watching that programme. It's a brilliant little French TV programme based on a film called Le Revenant, which was released in 2004. It's very well made, but the two films I've got is a classic in Ghostbusters, which Mark from Following the Nerd is an absolute just insane fan of. It's on 5 Star on Friday the 14th at 9 o'clock, and Audition, which is on Film 4 on Saturday morning the 15th at 1:15 a.m. on Film 4. Like I said, Audition is such a difficult watch, but it's a really good creepy movie, specifically when she does get to the violent scenes. But I highly recommend Audition, and you don't need me to explain Ghostbusters.
I'm just going to shout out a couple quick ones as well. It's a double bill, actually. The same night, 2 films on Film 4. Thursday the 13th, 9 o'clock, you've got Unstoppable, Denzel Washington film about the train that can't be stopped.
I was going to choose that one.
And 10:55, straight after it, Street Kings, which is not to the same quality as Training Day, but it's kind of like a follow-up. It's different. It's not the same characters or anything, but it's a follow-up Los Angeles police thriller, gritty thriller with Keanu Reeves and Chris Evans in it. And that's Street Kings at 10:55, which is enjoyable, and I really liked it.
Yep, well, that's it for this week's Monday Movie Show. Make sure you go and check out the website at mondaymovieshow.co.uk. You've also got Following the Nerd, followingthenerd.com. They're live every Thursday night at 9 o'clock. Menage a Geek, Al was in the live chat tonight for the first time, so it's brilliant to see him. He has got his show Menage a Geek, which goes up whenever. He's also got a website coming soon, which was supposed to have gone up at the weekend, so check that out when he throws up the details on Twitter. You've also got Vote Saxon 07. He does lots of toy reviews for Following the Nerd. Check out his YouTube channel and his Twitter feed. Dalek Sex is in the live chat, so I better mention Holocaust and Goals, which I think, according to him, there's an episode tonight. Maybe. You've heard an ad there.
Later, I think they're about 9:30, aren't they?
Yeah, something like that. You've heard an ad there also for the Games Cast, which they're actually releasing episodes every Friday night now. So check theirs out, 9 o'clock on Spreaker.
You know what happened now you said that? This Friday they won't.
Yeah, no, actually they're definitely going to do one because of E3.
Oh, yeah.
And also you've got the few charities, Slater, who I follow on Twitter. Make sure you check out his fundraising one. It's Playing for Palsy. He's going to do a 24-hour video game marathon in early July. And you've also got the CERN Foundation, which have got an event going on the 20th of July. Check out their website, cernfoundation.org.uk. And I know you flashed it up in Skype because I missed out Movie of the Week, but why not give you Movie of the Week now? Before I do the 2 outros.
For me, I think it's going to have to be Lincoln.
Zero Dark 30.
Oh, yeah, no, Zero. Oh, yeah. No, yeah, 0.30. Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
A double bill of Lincoln and Zero Dark 30.
Yeah, that's a long night, though. That's like 5 hours.
It's a very, actually more, I would say more than 5 hours. It's a very long night, but a really good double bill of Zero Dark 30.
Americana.
Yeah, why not? Next week we have Man of Steel, which we are reviewing on Sunday at 9 o'clock. So we're moving the show to Sunday at 9 o'clock instead of Monday. So make sure you tune in the show Sunday, the 16th at 9 o'clock on Spreaker. We'll throw up the few details.
What day was that again?
Monday. Sunday. That's Sunday. We might even actually have the post up on the site a day earlier than normal. Just to make sure, so you get a little bit more time to find out what we're reviewing. And like I've said, one of the films that we are reviewing is Man of Steel. Make sure you stick around after hearing this clip from Man of Steel, because there's a slight little treat, which is from Jurassic Park. So until next week, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
What are you doing, Zod? This is madness.
What I should have done years ago. These lawmakers, with their endless debates, have led Krypton to ruin.
And if your forces prevail, you'll be the leader of nothing.
Then join me. Help me save our race. We'll start anew. We'll sever the degenerative bloodlines that led us to this state.
And who will decide which bloodline survives, Zod? You?
Don't do this, Al. The last thing I want is for us to be enemies.
You have abandoned the principles that bound us together. You've taken up the sword against your own people. I will honor the man you once were, Zod. Not this monster you've become.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
They do move in herds.